everybody, and welcome all. Thanks to LD Mobile. This is NBL Overtime. Plenty to get into. Free agency list. We're getting close to players being able to sign, re-sign, or possibly go somewhere else. A fair bit going up in Cairns, Sydney as well. Some good things happening. But boys, we welcome you, Liam Santa Maria, Homicide, and of course our very special guest, because the last 24 or so hours has been a little bit disappointing for all fans. Doesn't matter if you're a Southeast Melbourne Phoenix fan, United, Breakers, whoever you might have supported over the history of the NBL. We are going to be sad to see Tai Wesley no longer doing his thing. He's announced his retirement, effective immediately for all the right reasons, but he has joined us in the retirement shirt straight up. He's eased straight into it. Tai, as we welcome you back to NBL Overtime, before anyone else says it, and we all echo these sentiments, congratulations on a wonderful career, and thank you for leaving us with so many great memories.
Thank you. That means a lot. It's been the NBL has been so good to me, my career, my family, and I wouldn't want to spend my career anywhere else.
This surprised, I'm going to talk for myself here, this surprised me a little bit when the announcement was made, but you spoke about, obviously, on the NBL.com.au article, talking about the fact that, quarantine and family obviously being the most important thing. How long have you been sort of mulling this decision over the last couple of, what has been a weird couple of months?
Probably the last 3-4 weeks, seriously talking about it with my wife. And then everything kind of just kept getting weirder. Dates kept getting pushed back. And then, one night I just felt like maybe I should be done. Maybe this should be the time when we step away. And I felt, I felt nervous about it. I felt anxious. I feared this day for a long time, but, when it came down to telling them and signing the termination contract, it all felt right for this time.
Tai, would you have retired right now if it weren't for COVID?
Absolutely not. I would definitely I'd be planning my revenge. I had a crappy year last year. I'd be ready to assault the whole league and destroy some people in the post. But, this coronavirus, I think, is the biggest factor. But, I just had a third baby as well. We bought a house. That would be hard to uproot my family. But I would 100% be coming back if it weren't for coronavirus.
I'm shocked. I love covering you, man. You were one of my favorite players in the league. Your energy, your passion, just how consistently on a daily basis, game in, game out, came with the effort, the attitude, and the game to back it up. I'm like a fan right now. Like, I really don't believe like you're not coming back. I think like, I just think that like you're really going to come back. I know how competitive you are, and I know you didn't have the year that you usually had last year due to injury, and you were planning for your comeback. So it's disappointing to hear that you hung them up. But I know you did it for all the right reasons.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like you guys always gave me a fair shake, maybe when I didn't deserve it or whatnot, but you always treated me right, and I appreciate that. I've seen the league go from almost being done to what it is now, which is crazy, and it's been a wild ride. From not making playoffs to winning 2 championships, losing in the grand final. It's been awesome.
So you mentioned before the weeks that you've been thinking about it, having those conversations with your wife. Take us inside, like, how difficult a decision it's been for you.
Well, let me explain to you what kind of conversations we were having. Mm-hmm. Hun, we got to go back. The money's good. Let's go back. No, we need to stay. No, we should go back. And so it was me trying to convince her the whole time. And finally I lost. But it's a hard thing, man. This was my passion. I loved it. I loved the fans. I loved playing in front of Perth. Who didn't like me. I loved every part of it. I love getting to know new players every year, building relationships with those guys, with my coaches. I have a great relationship with a lot of the coaches throughout the league. I just felt at home in Australia and at home in that league, and I had pride in that league. People try to talk crap about my league, and I'd want to fight them, or they'd come in the league, they'd be a new player in the league, and they say, "Oh, this league's weak," or "It's this or that." I say, "No, you can leave. You don't like it. There's the door. Get out of here."
Looking back on what has been an illustrious career, you mentioned the championships here, you mentioned the individual honours all the way, but there's always a turning point in an athlete's career where they adopt that attitude where it's like, you know what, I'm protective of my league, but I'm also one of the big dogs in the league. For you, when was that time? When was it like you went from, hey, I'm in the league, this is kind of cool, to I'm one of the best players in it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I definitely remember. It's so I moved from New Zealand to Melbourne United. I had a really crappy year under Dean Demopoulos. Was ready to hang it up after that year, and then he left, and I had one more year on my contract. And Dean Vickerman came in, gave me that starting. Well, I had to earn that starting spot at the 4 spot, and once I earned that, and I mean, you look at the players I had with me. I had Casper. I had Josh Boone. I had Chris Golding. I had Casey Prather. I had some killers on my team. And to be able to perform the way I did, then I said, okay, I'm the man too. Like, and we're going to do this. So I think, putting that squad together and being an integral piece on that lineup, then I knew that I was like, okay, anybody in the post can get this work.
And that's a fact. And that is 100% a fact, because that's when you got the name Grown Man Business.
Yes, sir.
That's when you got the name, because there was times where, you needed to have the ball to bail a team out, to put the backpack on and get wins. Because a lot of times it was really like, give the ball to Casper. Casper's going to do this. Casper's going to do that. And guess what? It wasn't. It was Tai Wesley, the point forward, making plays making point guard plays at that power forward. So you definitely earned that right and earned the respect.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I mean, and I credit a lot to Dean Vickerman who let me have some leash, make some mistakes, trying to be a point forward, and then drawing up plays where, or even our guards sometimes like, hey, we got to throw it in. We got to get to the ball. And I'm like, yo, let's go. Let me get a bucket real quick and keep that scoreboard ticking over for our team.
Tai, was that the best off season you had? I remember arriving at the Blitz in wherever it was, Traralgon, I think maybe. And I was like, whoa. Because as you say, the talk, I mean, the expectation was that Dave Anderson was probably going to be the starting 4 on that team. But you turned up to preseason that year in incredible shape, able to do everything that you wanted. And it was the season you were most dominant in the post. And yet you were probably, your lightest, I think, in that season. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Yep. So I didn't have much of an off season that year. I think I was home for 6 weeks at the most. That was my whole off season. So I didn't have time to get fat and put on my Aloha shirt and go to Hawaii and sit on the beach like I'm doing, So yeah, I didn't have, and I was younger, right now I go play pickup once or twice a week and I come on, I feel like I've been hit by a train, body hurts.
And you said before were you legitimately thinking of hanging him up after that Dean Demopoulos season?
Yeah. So if Dean Demopoulos would have came back, I would have hung him up, or I would have asked out of my contract, tried to go on somewhere else. I couldn't do another year of just going back and forth with him every day on the practice court. And I wasn't playing, there was a couple games that I played 2 or 3 minutes a game. So it was a rough year.
A year that's just gone incredibly frustrating. We touched on it a little bit earlier. Obviously injured, I think 8 points in the first 3 or 4 minutes on opening night, and then the hamstring twinge that we've spoken about. In fact, you were I think on our first ESPN show, Liam was overseas, and you obviously joined us on the panel for NBL Overtime, and you spoke about some of the frustration already creeping in there. When you look back at, first year as a franchise, the injury plague that you had, unfortunately, how frustrating was it to be in your situation last year?
Oh, it was incredibly frustrating. There was days, I got the news that I was out and tears were running down my face because I wasn't able to play. And that year meant a lot because it was you only get one first, and it was the first year for that club. I felt like they gave me the contract that I wanted. I felt like they treated me right. So it hurt. And then not being able to come back and finish on, a season where I felt like I did well and did what I wanted to do and played to my ability. That'll always look back on that and be like, dang, that's unfortunate. But, I was able to choose when to go out. I still could have come back, and I chose when it was time for me. And so I feel good about that.
Just on that, and obviously your family's such a huge part of this. How is the body? We hear athletes in all sports around the world who get to a certain age and not able to do the simple things with their kids because their body went through so much as a pro athlete. How is your body now from doing the everyday activities, not necessarily hardcore pro athlete stuff?
So my body, what's nice is I'm completely injury free. I don't have any niggles. I do go play couple times a week, like I said, and I do feel very sore after, but I was planning on getting I had a personal trainer lined up. I wanted to come back like that year, that second year at Melbourne United. I want to come back in crazy shape. I was excited. I knew how important this year was, and I was very motivated, but unfortunately the circumstances didn't allow for that to happen.
Liam, you tweeted today as well. We watched on NBL Rewind around 6 weeks ago, I reckon, maybe a little longer. We sat down with Dean Vickerman and spoke about that game against OKC, which was a huge catalyst of the NBA v NBL and how well you played in that. Liam, you tweeted about it today and the numbers and how well, and you went head-to-head with Carmelo at certain times. Outside of, obviously, the championships, is that one of the most special games you were a part of in an NBL program?
Yeah. I looked up to Carmelo. I'd imitate him on the basketball court, shooting fadeaway jumpers. So, just playing that game, that was the first one for me. And I had so many family members there. We lost by 1. We had 2 shots to win. I mean, I still tell people that story. And I still tell people that Carmelo had to call Steven Adams over to double team me in the post. And I will forever. I'm never going to let that go.
And it was a goaltend, right?
Goaltend for sure. Yeah. So we won by 1, actually.
Tai, apart from the championships, obviously hoisting the trophy, that moment when the buzzer rings and you've won the title, and that game, what are some of the other moments or periods of time in your time in the NBL when you've had the most fun?
Oh, there's so many times to think of. Off-court stuff is great. I remember – you go to Illawarra, you get in the beach the second you get off the plane, and I'm with the breakers, and we're in the water swimming, and this huge stingray chases our whole team out of the water. We're all just screaming, running. Tom Abercrombie has his GoPro, gets a picture of this massive stingray. That was a great time. Spending 2 New Year's Eves in Cairns with 2 different teams, that was awesome. You stay up all night with your teammates and crack jokes. Mad Mondays are always a good time. Just the relationships I've formed are things that I cherish more than probably some of the basketball memories.
Biggest question. What now?
Well, I've been working on my golf swing. I've planted some crops in my backyard. I'm looking at being a mortgage loan officer right now. I'm studying to get licensed for that. I think that's something that will suit me well, being able to talk to people and make them feel comfortable. So we're looking down that. But I'd love to come back to basketball at some stage and teach some big guys some post moves.
Just on Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, before we let you go, we're going to discuss, obviously, and this is a big hole to fill for Southeast Melbourne. Of course, free agency not far away, but you'd be fairly confident looking and having some type of inside knowledge as into what Simon Mitchell, Tommy Greer and the crew were building, that this team's going to be able to, maybe not from a playoff sense, but build on what was a successful first year in the league.
Yeah. We got Mitch Creek, who's tough, who's a beast. He stays healthy the whole year. And we got guys around him. Guys like who am I thinking of? Sorry. Kyle Adnam, Dane Pinot, Adam Gibson. Who else is there right now? Kendall Stevens. And then I hope we bring back some familiar faces. Hopefully, John Robertson comes back. He looked good last night in the TBT. And then bring in a couple new guys and I think that's a great core. Having those guys, the experience of Gibbo and Kyle and Mitch are pretty good.
Hey, Cam.
Go.
But before you wrap, I just want to make sure I don't want to miss this opportunity to echo what you and Corey were saying off the top, and thank you, Tai, for your time in the NBL. It's been so much fun watching you play, and I just have appreciated the way you've gone about it. You've as Corey's always said, you play with grown man intent. you bring it every single game, but you've also played with a big smile on your face, and that's on and off the floor, engaging. I'll never forget you talking about coming to my daughter's unicorn party and barking at the front row at Melbourne United semi-final game 1 for the Breakers when you came in and just tore them apart. I just have just loved watching you play, man.
Thank you, Liam. Appreciate that, man. It really means a lot.
And I think, as we've all said, that is essentially the thoughts of almost I'd say every single NBL fan right now. So while it has been, disappointing 24 hours to hear the news, we totally understand it and have enjoyed every single moment of it, mate. Good luck to you and your family going forward, and no doubt we'll speak soon enough.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Always a pleasure.